Hey everyone, welcome to the video. We're finally gonna get RCs today, and it's been quite a while. No longer having to watch rifles die super fast, or Zooks die to rockets. So we'll pick these guys up and max them, and having a troop that can kind of hold its own. And now, we can have some fun with them. So let's try it a few hits. Now for the most part, we're gonna be rocking 2 Scorchers, 6 RCs. And Scorchers, they still serve as a solid meat shield. And now taking her first ability, Crit Swarm, and see how it goes. So most bases like this with an ER kind of on the right side, we can just go all from the right ramp, doing 2 Scorchers and on each of them 3 RCs behind. Usually I like keeping Sparky on the right side. And now you can also see people trying to defend RCs, so boom cannons right across the gap. And over here we can even do maybe just a critter on the right side, just so that sniper tower goes down a bit faster. So right now doing 2 Scorchers, then 3 RCs behind and Sparky. We'll get that 1 critter going. And Scorchers, usually they're fast enough where they can stay in front of the RCs, but always having a hand on shocks, just kind of watching them. So far looking pretty good. And they do have a ton of health. But we can start shocking, let's say, a boom cannon. Because once those 2 Scorchers go down, there isn't much meat shield. Get critters going down as the Scorchers are. And then even some of Sparky's critters. Looks like we lost 1 RC on that side. And let's just move everyone in the middle, because don't want that left RC just doing whatever. And these cannons should go down. We have enough for arting at 1 BC. I think it might be 4 or 5. But 60 building health, looks like 4. And after this, we can just start flaring. Get a few ERs over here, and then just going for it. Just gotta shock this 1 boom cannon. And kind of watching that shock value. And then flare the last one with a couple more shocks. Don't have enough for taking out the shield, but we'll just do 1 final art on the ER. And looks like getting around 230 time. So a lot easier than Scorch's Zook hits. See if it's okay. And that's a win. Also some pretty good stars. And since building health is so close to RCs, we're always keeping an eye on the other guy's building health. Just seeing if we want to be super fast or even how many arts and boom cannon takes. This guy with 30 BH, so probably a secret player. Which means in this one case we can be taking a rifle Zook instead. And that's for this side over here. Flaring the other RCs, maybe like towards the right. We can go from the left too, but the right ramp is a bit shorter. And the reason we're not taking like 2 RCs for this side is a rifle Zook don't need too much extra GB. Especially for just a few ERs. So we'll get Sparky and 6 RCs. Flaring just a cannon. And already dropping that rifle Zook. We can do a critter and I think that should be enough. And 1 shock. Let everything kind of spread out. We could maybe art, let's say, that boom cannon. Got 1 more over here. And then we want to try crittering out something, so can try a bunch over here. And then the RC should spread out pretty well. We'll do our last few arts up top. Just kind of spamming it. And on a secret base, with RCs we can be super fast too. 316. And he looks like he finished us too. Just not fast enough. So that's even the best part about RCs, because before it was a tough chance to beat them on time. but they don't got a ton of defense. This guy with almost everything, HC's, bullet, and some Seeks. Which then again, we only have 60 building health, so we can get some more too. In fact, we're gonna pick it up right now. So getting this chest. And that's a huge jump from 60 building health to 110. Should really help out on defense. Got another match over here. This guy with 110 BH. And this ER is still kind of on the right, so we'll still go all from the right ramp. Going back to 2 Scorchers and 6 RCs. And again, it's 1 Scorcher, 3 RCs, kind of on opposite sides. Here I've seen a lot of this base. You can maybe art out this machine gun and then just keep on crittering that shock launcher. It keeps Scorchers alive and distracts those boom cannons. So we might try that out. Getting the 2 Scorchers going pretty far apart. And we'll go Sparky, let's see on the right side. Kind of watching everyone go. We'll shock this cannon maybe just in case. Could have avoided it by doing a better Sparky placement. But now I want to get that critter down. Just to keep that boom cannon distracted. And we didn't quite art it out, but I think we don't need to. It's kind of perfect in that blind spot. Sparky looking kind of okay. And even though it's just 1 RC on the left side, it's still gonna do some decent damage. Get one of Sparky's critters out. And you can already tell it's a little slower with 110 building health. Here we're gonna art out this cannon. It looks like 4 is just enough. And now that right Scorcher died, so really want to make sure there's enough critters out there. But Sparky, she should get the job done. We'll get a critter going on this boom cannon and kind of just get ready to flare. That RC might just die, but not much we can do. Or it's barely alive. Gotta kill this boom cannon and now just start flaring. Cause he got enough GBE for a few shocks. And as this ER goes down, flare the last one. One last shock to finish it off. So we can tail a bit slower than 60 BH. We're gonna get around 215 and see if it's okay. See what this guy's doing. But looks like we got him. Now it's not a super crazy or fast hit, but it's still important how we manage GB. So the drop is usually 1 Scorcher, 3 RCs, kind of right there. And we kind of messed up with a Scorcher on the far right. Scorcher should be right there, and then the RC is a bit further on that side, just so you don't have to waste a shock on that cannon. And usually Sparky on the right side too. Cause then these guys clear over here, same deal on this side. And you saw on this base, we can just critter right here, and it distracts both boom cannons. If let's say there's a flame instead, then maybe art it out. But I would say critters early for those BCs. Cause then later on you can always use Sparky's critters, distract the other boom cannons. And then when you clear just enough, let's say this ER and this one, then you just start flaring. So using critters distract that boom cannon, and the last hit we arted out this one. Just ways to reduce shocks, where you can just flare the last 2 ERs. That way, even with 0 GBE, you can still get a decent time. And the toughest part about these hits might just be managing your Scorchers. Like, it's not easy for where you're gonna throw critters or shocks, but don't be afraid to be kinda stingy with them. Cause we don't have unlimited GBE, and if Scorchers die too early, you can always rewatch a hit and kinda see maybe one more critter on this side or using Sparky's ones. Especially taking advantage of critters, cause just because you have shocks, doesn't mean you can throw all of them. And got this base here with, looks like no snipers or mortars. So maybe super easy. I say that because we know he has no Seekers, HCs, or Bombers. All 3 Protos. And we'll take the same approach. 1 Scorcher, 3 RCs each side. So getting these guys out. Waiting just a bit because Scorchers are a bit slower than RCs. Especially waiting for that Scorcher on the right side to catch up. And big part is using critters where like there's no splash damage. So 1 on this side. We can do 1 shock on that boom cannon. Because again, once the Scorchers die, not much we can do. And another critter on top of that machine gun. Let's get one of Sparky's critters out too. We still have Sparky only level 2, so not too many critters, but just enough. That Scorcher died, so really want to make sure we have critters out there. And so far looking pretty okay. We can art out that boom cannon. We did 4, but might be 5. Yeah, it looks like 5 with 110 BH. Well, we'll get that pretty soon with that ERs going down. And then we can really just start flaring. So throwing that 1 more art. And I like grouping them together first. So getting them and then flaring the ERs. We can afford 2 arts on that shield. Really helps flaring the final one. And then sending that last flare with 1 shock. So a bit faster time, especially since he had no snipers or mortars. And we'll get 225. See if it's okay. And looks like a win. This guy rocking bullet RCs, which I've seen some people do too, but we rode with Sparky the whole season and if we can, we'll keep on using her. We got another match over here. This guy with only 60 building health. But a pretty similar base, so again we'll go 1 Scorcher, 3 RCs. Same thing on the far side. This time keeping the Scorcher a bit closer to the left. That way we can avoid a shock on these cannons. And then see how it goes. Getting the Scorchers out, then 3 RCs. And we'll do Sparky on the right side. This time the left boom cannon is kind of protected. So we might need 1 shock in it. Get 1 going now. And then hopefully that Scorcher stays up. We'll also do a shock on that boom cannon. But I think the left side looks okay. Get one of Sparky's critters out there. Because already that Scorcher's dead. We can do 1 critter and 1 shock. And just kind of watching both sides. Like another critter over here. Especially as the other Scorcher is about to die. And again, that's where Sparky's critter swarm comes in handy. Just always making sure this critter's on deck. Though we might still lose some to that boom cannon. Gotta shock this one on the right. And we could maybe keep all RCs to one side. But first gotta do a critter on the right. And as this ER goes down, keeping everyone together. So we can start arting that cannon. And let's see, only 3 RCs left, so not too much. We know it's going to be a bit slower time, but maybe our building health can help us out. Let's get 1 flare to the right first, and then onto the ER. We needed that right flare to avoid this cannon, but around the same time as like a 110 BH base. Got 213. So could have done a better job managing RCs. And let's see him. It's going to be pretty close, but we might get it. So our 110 BH helping us. And that's also going to give us 22. So getting that chest. And we'll take a quick look at what happened. Basically rewatching the hit and seeing what could have been a little better. So I think the start wasn't too bad. Like Scorchers out there. See this flame, it does reach both that boom cannon and cannon. So maybe what we could have done is arted it out and then just thrown one critter. Cause that way later we can save like one shock and a normal critter. And on the right, shocking that boom cannon before it gets a shot off. Cause we only have one Scorcher on the right side, and if it's already at half health, it's not a good sign. So sending this shock a little sooner. As soon as this left ER went down, we can just do a reflare over here. Cause that way RCs are concentrated and just doing more damage. So next time we hit it, once this ER is dead, we do a reflare and then just go from there. So you can always try out new hits, looking at replays and trying it out. But now with those 28 keys, we can pick up that GBE, the one we skipped way back at 5 ER, and we'll only do 40%, because now we're also going to wait for some building damage, put that at 40, and even that last GBE, also keeping it at 40. Only reason is saving tokens still for max rockets. You get one extra of them, and when maxed, they still do a bit to RCs. But for right now, enjoying these RC hits and maybe keeping them the meta for the rest of the season. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.